rumble of the discourse. We've taken an abandoned concrete factory at the margins of the declining American empire and repurposed it into a battleground where 19 separate entities from across the political spectrum enter the discourse one by one and do battle to determine who controls the narrative force of the discourse. I hope you'll join me, your Southern Gothic futurist host Dirk God Raven Mac, for each and every episode of Monday Night Rumble of the Discourse. Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, all my discourse maniacs out there? This is your boy Dirk God Raven Mac. We are here for our grand finale of the spring 2026 Monday Night Rumble of the Discourse. We've had 6 weeks already where 27 competitors have been out here each week, accumulating points over the course of those 6 weeks to try and make tonight's finale, where the top 27 return, coming in reverse order. Those who got the most points will come out last to be crowned the champion of the discourse for this season, spring 2026. Our sponsor tonight is We Have No Sponsor. Primary sponsorship is nobody. I do all I do for the culture of nonsense, and unfortunately that's channeled into the digital realm. Well, that's not unfortunate. The digital realm had a lot of promise when it started, but it's been channeled into algorithms and social media, and it isn't nearly as fun as it used to be. But I still do crap like this that only 4 people give a fuck about because I do it for the culture of nonsense. That's right, baby. Monday Night Rumble of the Discourse, we've been doing this for years. I used to do this just unlimitedly, but then we created the 7-week series when my producer Bob Dabalina joined on late in 2022, and we had 7-week series format that we currently have. That first one was won by that verified blue check. You can see the Police State won a couple, Mike Johnson. Mar-a-Lago guest won our last season. We didn't even see him this season, did we, Bob? Mar-a-Lago guest won last season, and tonight's winner will be determined in a few minutes here, folks. That leaderboard, so the folks that'll be coming out last tonight, Gavin Newsom and Zohran Mamdani. Elon Musk is up there, Antifa Wine Mom. You can see all of these folks going to be coming out tonight. 8 points and above will be in our Rumble, and on our second page of results, all these folks down through 5 will be out, and we have, I believe, 3 or 4 people that only had 4 points that will be out tonight as well, and they'll be the first ones that come out, so you'll see them first, and that means these people that have gotten less points are going to have to last longer as the night goes on. So with that being said, let's discourse, motherfuckers, and head on up to the ring, and you can see that our referees in there tonight are, as usual, the Police State and the Lady Cop. And coming out first is the Proud Boy. Little upset he's going to lose out on that $1.776 billion weaponization fund that I'm sure he already had fired up, just like he got PPP loans for his landscaping business that he knew he was never going to have to pay back. The grift never ends with Trump. And the random shooter is coming out next. Irrelevant because we've got the third game of this. We got an early tip-off time tonight here in our abandoned concrete factory at the edge of town because Trump is heading up to that third game of the NBA Finals in New York, and Air Force One's parked outside in the kudzu. And random shooter, valuable lesson. That's all it takes is one lucky random shooter to change the course of history. But right now, the Proud Boy and the Random Shooter are our first 2 competitors. They're going at it. Proud Boy getting some shots in. Again, we're going to have 25 other people coming out, and whoever is last in the ring, champion of the discourse. Cripple a crossface right now on the Random Shooter by the Proud Boy. Random Shooter fighting back, kick there to the Proud Boy. You can see there's a couple ladders in there. Once again, those ladders represent the meritocracy myth of American mythology, that you can work hard and you will achieve whatever you want, which of course we all know is bullshit now. You got to be born rich or get lucky. And we got a buzzer, and coming to join these two is going to be Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, the head dipshit in charge at the Department of War. They, of course, they had where they reclassified religions this past week, and a bunch of Mormons are mad at Pete Hegseth because Mormonism got taken out of that. And that could be an internal play. I don't know if you guys realize this, but at one point years ago, there was how the CIA was heavily recruiting within the Mormon Church. So this could be a little behind the scenes Department of Defense, Department of War, CIA interplay. Not to get all conspiratorial with you, but the deep state is actually deep, and there's a lot of corrupt bastards in all those different corners of the deep state. It is not a unified effort by any means whatsoever. And we've got a buzzer. And speaking of the depth of the state, here comes Supreme Court Chief Justice John Roberts, instrumental in gutting the Voting Rights Act, which is rolling us back to pre-1960s era voting. John Roberts, Pete Hegseth, the random shooter, and the Proud Boy are out there, and the police state just got crashed into one of those ladders. You can't see it right now, but around the ring is 23 briefcases full of dark money. We got a packed house here in the concrete factory tonight. Looking forward to this season being over because this will go back to an abandoned factory. We gray washed the walls, but once it's abandoned again, we'll start to see some graffiti pop up like I like to see. Coming out now after only 1 week in the Rumble. She scored 5 points, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I actually saw a picture of Marjorie Taylor Greene from Costa Rica with her current partner, and she had a huge smile on her face. And my politics are different than her, but she's no longer part of the kayfabe of politics. She doesn't have to pretend to be an exaggerated version of herself. As a CrossFit swinger type, I'm sure going to Costa Rica and sleeping with the Cabana Boy is a lot more exciting than sleeping with a young bartender escort in D.C., which is how Graham Plattner got his start, by the way. So Marjorie Taylor Greene out there, luckily she'll probably be free from the Discourse after this. She did get that congressional pension. She made sure her resignation allowed for that. And here comes the podcast grifter. Been a regular this season. She was part of our all-women's Rumble and said she identified as a woman, so we will be using the she-her pronouns for the podcast grifter until the end of this season, maybe next season, because I kind of like being an asshole to people like him. It's kind of funny using the she-her pronouns for him because the title ends in podcast grifter, which of course means you'd be like a Heesaw skit and go, podcast grifter? I hardly know her. But we've got a ring of 6 folks in there right now. Nobody's been eliminated yet, as of yet. John Roberts taking some elbows to the spinal cord by podcast grifter. And there's a pin. Pete Hegseth eliminated by the Proud Boy. So that's our first elimination. And coming out to join him is John Fetterman. He's got his best and one basketball shorts on, and he is heading out to join the crew. So we've got the Proud Boy still in there, random shooter, John Roberts, MTG, podcast grifter, and John Fetterman. You can see Pete Hegseth slinking his way to the back after being the first man eliminated. Everybody kind of standing around watching the action with the podcast grifter. MTG has got an arm lock on the Proud Boy and really ripping it. Fetterman striking at John Roberts. MTG is really wrenching the Proud Boy's arm over here. And then he rolls her up on the ladder and nails her with the ladder with the roll-up. She still kicks out just in time. And coming out now, Abigail Spanberger, Virginia governor, noted CIA agent and blue centrist who has ruled against the light. John Roberts on that apron over there. He gets back in. Abigail Spanberger has vetoed a lot of legislation done by the Democrats here in Virginia. And I did not see what Marjorie Taylor Greene got tossed by somebody, so she is gone. God bless her. She can go back to Costa Rica. Abigail Spanberger locking up with John Roberts currently, center ring. Podcast grifter moves one of those ladders. Lady Cop tries to climb it and then falls off. Spanberger still on top of Roberts. Looks like a chokehold there. The refs need to get in there to check that. And coming out is the immigrant. So the immigrant. ICE, DHS just got their budget updated, so I don't know what the hell that was all about, but they'll be out terrorizing people, which they never really stopped. The immigrants out here. Proud Boy punching that immigrant. She's a tough lady, though. Fetterman with a leg drop on the random shooter. The podcast grifter swinging that broom that the immigrant brought out. Police state climbing one of those ladders, and then he comes back down. Abigail Spanberger dropped face first into one of those ladders. Nobody can cover her yet. There's finally a cover with the random shooter as the reply guy comes out. But Proud Boy got pinned over there. I didn't see what happened. I guess we're not keeping points tonight, are we, Bob? I don't need to worry about who got the point. Proud Boy eliminated. John Roberts had a full Nelson there on the podcast grifter, and then Fetterman came through just nailing everybody. And then reply guy pins John Roberts. So the Supreme Court Chief Justice eliminated from the discourse by reply guy. And there's a pin. Spanberger trying to roll up Fetterman. A little blue on blue violence. Reply guy going after random shooter. Podcast grifter still in there. Who else is in there? The immigrant still in there as well. She's locked up with Spanberger, and here comes J.D. Vance, Vice President J.D. Vance. Fake Appalachian, idiot grifter, lover of living room decor, J.D. Vance. No, Bob, I'm not going to do it. So I have a poem I perform where I say I'm going to have a Appalachian log and chain death match with J.D. Vance, and I actually carry around 8-foot length of logging chain in the trunk of my car. Podcast grifter got pinned in there by Abigail Spanberger. I actually carry that chain around because it's a good visual effect for when I perform the poem. And Bob was asking me before the show tonight when he was out at my car and I was getting my bag out of the trunk. He said, "You're not going to actually hit JD with that." And of course I'm not. I'm a law-abiding man. And straight out the south side of Chicago by way of the Vatican, here comes the Pope. And look, J.D. Vance trying to chase him with that chair. J.D. Vance hadn't even gotten in the ring yet. The Pope gets in before Vance does. What a tool. Vance is holding that chair but hadn't swung it on anybody, and then he throws it out the ring because J.D. Vance is about as dumb as a pile of dirt. And that's not even fair because a pile of dirt has a lot of unknown intelligence. So it looks like we got 7 folks in there. Abigail Spanberger punching the Pope over there in the corner. Fetterman and random shooter still going at it. The immigrant over the top rope. She staggered out and she's back in. And at the buzzer, it's the free thinker. Here he comes, the free thinker. Thinks exactly like every other free thinker because the algorithm channels them into that identity of self where they feel like they are being an outlaw by being a well-behaved follower of the laws that they're told are good. I hate fake outlaws. I really do. The Pope just drove Fetterman into the ground, but then Fetterman's right back up. J.D. Vance is over there kind of working with the Pope, shockingly enough. Reply guy's got that big piece of wood, and he throws it at Fetterman. Vance trying to get the random shooter up for a pile driver, and does. And here comes AOC. But there's a pin. That random shooter got pinned by the Pope, so Vance pile drive that random shooter, and then the Pope took the pin. Little combination of new Catholicism and old Catholicism. I mean, thou shalt not kill is in every version of the Bible. They haven't made one yet. I think that's even in the Trump Gold Bible. And there's a pin on the immigrant by reply guy, and she has been, well, we don't get a bell, and they count again, so the immigrant, is she not eliminated, Bob? What happened there? It looked like she got counted out, but for some reason that was not acknowledged by the bellkeeper, and the ref just kept counting. Here comes Hakeem Jeffries as the Pope pins John Fetterman. So the Pope is taking suckers out left and right tonight. Reply guy on that top rope, he gets down. AOC throwing some punches. Hakeem Jeffries suplexing the Pope and going for a pin on the Pope.
And he gets them. Hakeem Jeffries comes out and eliminates the Pope. I guess the Democrats truly are godless. So we still got Abigail Spanberger in there. The immigrant got pinned, but is still in there for some reason. Not eliminated. Counted as not eliminated, though she was pinned. Reply Guy's in there. J.D. Vance, that free thinker, is still out there. AOC and Hakeem Jeffries. Vance currently over there with Hakeem Jeffries, and the free thinker throws him into the ladder. And joining them in the ring, coming out now. Waiting to see who it is. That New York Times op-ed writer. This guy has done nothing but be a wealthy-born guy that went to a elite university and has been a commentator in the news for many years, and really has a lot of unoriginal thoughts and is taken as an expert, even though he seems to have no expertise on anything. Guy's a real fucking idiot, and I really miss the old days of print newspapers because you could just skip the opinion page completely. With the algorithm, with online news, it's like the first thing you see. Like if you go to the New York Times site, like the whole sidebar is nothing but their bullshit opinion pieces. And they're always so idiotic. So, I miss the old days, baby. Here comes Donald Trump. Of course, like I said, we had that early time tonight because Trump has to get out of here and get to New York to disrupt everybody's enjoyment of the NBA Finals with his narcissistic viewing. Anxiously awaiting this guy. You know, people always assume it's gonna, like, the thing will happen in some fabulous way, but, like, honestly, this guy's probably just gonna have a heart attack in bed while he's posted on social media at like 1:30 in the morning. And for a guy who used to fly around the world and have sex with the most beautiful children that he could sexually exploit, that's gotta be very humbling. Probably why he's so miserable. And the immigrant pins the free thinker and reply guy got tossed by the New York Times op-ed writer. So the free thinker is out and reply guy on a 1-2. That's quite a 1-2. The free thinker and reply guy. Those guys are kind of like a tag team. Coming out to join things is Bari Weiss, head of CBS News. Of course, CBS News last week with the key 60 Minutes reporter ended up complaining about a meeting they had, calling out the new news leaders in their office, and then he ended up getting asked to leave or he resigned. I don't know, very sketchy. New York Times op-ed writer eliminates AOC, so he is doing his duty and moving things to the right. But Bari Weiss, of course, has just made CBS News a joke, but also corporate news has always been a joke. And there it is. Bari Weiss actually pins the immigrant, so she does her purpose and gets rid of an immigrant. The same time that the No Kings liberal comes out. Of course, this used to be called the No Kings shit lib, but I promised them after some of the No Kings protests that I would respectfully decline from calling them a shit lib. Even though I am on a Blue Sky block list of people who use the term shit lib as a pejorative, which I still do there. But resistance takes all different types, and while I'd much rather there be more Pops footing Charlie Kirk holes and more necks, I fully respect a bunch of people that want to stand together outside the Tesla dealership on a Saturday afternoon and have people honk their support at them. And we get another buzzer, and we are getting... Here comes Luigi. So Luigi Mangione, he won week one, folks. I was so excited. Luigi won week one, and it was said he was not going to be allowed back out here until the final. Here he is. Bari Weiss is bloody in there. She's been busted open by somebody, and Luigi's got that No Kings liberal on the top rope, and then she knocks him off, and then Bari Weiss has that liberal and takes her down. Luigi wasn't going to be allowed to come back. He did not get work release from jail to come back for any of the other weeks after he won week one, but he's here tonight. And he knocks that No Kings liberal out. So Luigi already have an effect on the discourse tonight, eliminating that No Kings liberal. So Abigail Spanberger, is she still out there? She is. Abigail Spanberger, governor of my home state, is still out there. J.D. Vance, Hakeem Jeffries, New York Times op-ed writer, Donald Trump, Bari Weiss, Luigi Mangione, and coming to join him is the immigrant. Of course, the immigrant won last week. Last week when we had all our people trying to get enough points to qualify, the immigrant came out and won, moved himself deeper into this thing. Trump tussling with Bari Weiss, not happy with the coverage that he's getting. Of course, he walked off of an NBC interview. Luigi got busted open. No, don't bust open my beautiful Luigi. Two of those meritocracy myth ladders are stacked on top of each other. Abigail Spanberger rolls up Vance, but he kicks out. Trump tosses Hakeem Jeffries. And at the buzzer, we get Sarah McBride. So Sarah McBride, a lot of folks emailed, said they weren't familiar with Sarah McBride. The New York Times op-ed writer got pinned in there. Weren't familiar with Sarah McBride. She is the one openly trans member of Congress, representative from Delaware. Had some associations with the Biden family, but you don't hear a lot about her, and I would say that's probably a good sign for her if you don't hear about her. Of course, Hunter Biden got a lot of screenshots and reposts about him being extra on social media this past week, and after a few days of being extra and responding in the ways we always hoped he would, he came out with a crypto scam, which is usually when you're hearing about people. The immigrant got tossed on the far side, knocked off that top rope. He was tossed, and J.D. Vance has been busted wide open. And coming out now from Minneapolis, the Antifa wine mom, Luigi pins Bari Weiss. So Bari Weiss eliminated by Luigi. God bless Luigi. God bless Luigi. What a benefit he is to us. And Trump going for a pin on Antifa wine mom there right away. Abigail Spanberger has really toughed it out in here. Sarah McBride going after Trump. Trump gets behind her and has a slide. Rolling her up for a slide. Just a one count. And there's a pin on Vance by the Antifa wine mom. So by my count, we have 4 more people still to come out. J.D. Vance tossed, so he is eliminated. And here comes the Ice Goon. Of course, the immigrant was there in the aisle, and the immigrant and the Ice Goon had some words. Ice Goon's still out here. They're still running wild everywhere they can. They got that unlimited budget and all sorts of secret detention centers nobody can look at. Of course, the one in New Jersey making a lot of news up there at Delaney Street because they won't let people inspect it. There's a lot of reports of people not doing well, not being treated by normal standards that would be expected, even in an uncivilized society. So you can't even, we are just going backwards. All the 5% Nation of Islam notions of white people being from caves and Yakubian and uncivilized are certainly showing themselves to be more and more true as we move deeper into this white supremacist Trump administration. Hakeem Jeffries eliminated and Elon Musk comes out. SpaceX going public this Friday, so don't be tricked into spending your money on that. I see some suckers out here trying to dupe people, saying if you had invested in Tesla, it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and that can be once in a lifetime if it's happened twice in 6 years. But SpaceX is a big money suck, benefit of the welfare state, taking federal money left and right. Now it's going private, and I'm not sure how you can have that much government support funding and then go private, but whatever, man. The end result is after that goes public, we're probably going to have our first trillionaire, which just goes back to what I said. And Trump got tossed there. Trump is out. Donald Trump will not be champion of the discourse. He is out. I am sure you may hear that Air Force One chopper war up in the background before we are too long, because I know he's trying to hustle his way to New York City to not miss that NBA match. And here comes Gavin Newsom, California governor. He's our next to last entrant. What I was saying about Elon, who is now twisting at Abigail Spanberger's leg, we're going to have our first trillionaire, and that just suggests to me that we don't have nearly enough Luigis out there, because if there's just not nearly enough Luigis if we have a trillionaire. Trillionaires should not exist. Billionaires shouldn't exist. But we shouldn't have so many billionaires that one of them decides to be a trillionaire. Couple pop-pops, that's all it takes. And our last entrance is Zohran Mamdani, New York City mayor. And there's a pin, the Ice Goon pinning. No, kick out. Spanberger kicks out at 2. Zohran Mamdani comes out. And I tell you, man, it's hard not to like this guy, not because of his politics, but like he he proclaimed that bedtime was canceled for the NBA Finals. He's just a likable guy, and like Spanberger kicked over the top rope and Elon out there on the apron with her, but he lets her back in. But there's a lot to be said for just being a likable guy who does his best to deliver on his campaign promises. Like, that's all it really takes. Like, everybody has always got to be filtered through these consultants, and Gavin Newsom's a perfect example. Like, they always got to be filtered through consultants and have this performative aspect to them, or they're like Trump and they're just narcissistic assholes who expect people to love them. Zoran is genuinely likable. Even if he wasn't a politician. Like, if he wasn't a politician, he'd be even more likable. In fact, that's the one big red flag on Zoran Mamdani, is why would you want to willingly be a politician when you're so nice? That, of course, is the problem with politics in America, is only assholes actually want to be politicians. And that goes across both parties. It's a different type of asshole in a lot of times, but no different than within the party. You know, you're going to get a very different type of asshole be a Democratic senator from West Virginia than you would be Democratic senator from California. And my beloved Luigi got pinned there. The ice goon rolled him up and eliminated him. The deep state, the actual deep state, all these ICE agents, took out Luigi. What a shame. It's not worth going for the rest of it, Bob. I'm just walking off, man. You can just have silence for the rest of it. I don't care. I wanted Luigi to win. I don't have to play favorites. I don't have to be impartial. Yeah, I know, Bob. I'm sorry. Alright. Yes, I'll get back to it, Bob. Usually Bob brings me a Dr. Pepper, and he didn't bring one today, so I'm giving him a hard time tonight. Actually, when we were opening the trunk of my car, I threatened to use that chain on him because he didn't bring me a Dr. Pepper. But nonetheless, here we are, down to 7. Luigi eliminated. We have Abigail Spanberger is still out there. Antifa Wine Mom, Elon Musk, Gavin Newsom, Zoran Mamdani, that ice goon, and Delaware Representative Sarah McBride. And the ice goon just pinned Spanberger, so my governor, my useless, centrist, piece of shit CIA agent, CIA mommy governor, Abigail Spanberger, suffering from Sandra Locke syndrome, has been eliminated. Thank goodness. I only have 3 years and 912 days left of her. Gavin Newsom going after Sarah McBride. We know how he feels about trans folks. And the ice goon pins the Antifa wine mom. So that battle from Minneapolis earlier this year revisited. We're down to 5. And unfortunately, we have Elon Musk still out there, the ice goon, Representative Sarah McBride, Gavin Newsom, who went over top rope, but he gets back in, and Zoran Mamdani. So these are our final 5. Down to the nitty-gritty. One of these folks, none of these folks have won the Rumble or the Discourse before. None of them have won a season before, so we're going to have a first-time winner. Newsom going after Mamdani. Mamdani bulldogs the ice goon. Elon going after Sarah McBride. Elon's transphobic hater of his own family member. In fact, he'd said he started going Nazi because he was mad about his trans daughter. And then he punches both. Elon punches Gavin Newsom, who gets tangled up with the ice goon, and they're both eliminated. So just like that, we're down to 3. Delaware Congresswoman Sarah McBride, potential trillionaire shithead Elon Musk, and New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani. So these are our final 3. Even though many folks may not know Sarah McBride, it is fitting that a trans woman would be at the end of the discourse here, because trans lives have been in the discourse a lot. And Elon tumbles off that ladder as McBride was moving it, and he's gone. So it's just 2. Relevant to the discourse because they're trying to make trans folks seem like terrorists, according to that recent Trump executive order. But Zoran and Sarah McBride going at it. And of course, there's the conflict here of Zoran, progressive Democrat, Sarah McBride, more centrist Democrat, keeps her head low, doesn't try to do anything too drastic, definite incremental changer. And Zoran has suplexed her, and she hits that ladder, and there is a count, and that's a 3 count. Just like that, we're done. Zohran Mamdani has won this thing, man. Is that a good sign for the Knicks tonight? I don't know. Zohran wins this thing, and he is out as our first-time champion, our spring 2026 champion of the Discourse. Let's look at that replay. It happened kind of quickly there. Zohran gets Sarah McBride up, suplex into that ladder as well, and then he covers her for the pin, and that is it, man. Let's look at this. So there you see Zohran Mamdani joins that hallowed list of previous winners, joining such luminaries as the Not an FBI Agent, that verified blue check who won the very first one, and the Police State who won a couple. The only multiple time winner, and technically they're not an FBI agent, is part of the Police State, so they're definitely homies. But Zohran Mamdani has won the Spring 2026 Rumble of the Discourse, and that means we come to a conclusion. And I just want to remind you, as always, this thing is sponsored by my Southern Gothic Futurist Patreon. This is a Patreon where you can support all the endeavors I do. We may be back summer 2026. I don't know. I may come back around and do this again, depending on how much Bob bugs me around 4th of July. I do know we'll most likely be back for the fall midterms, but we'll just have to see how it goes. But the best way you can keep up with it, follow that Patreon, support that Patreon. You can like the YouTube page, but I don't really give a fuck. Like, that doesn't really give me anything if you do that. I mean, I want you to enjoy it, but I'm not gonna be one of those hit like and subscribe guys. Like, nah, man. But I do want you to support my Patreon, because you know what? Trying to survive late stage capitalism over here, like we all are. But that's part of the way I do it, man. Southern Gothic Futurism. It's about what we do after the end times have come and gone, because guess what? The end times are never going to get here as quickly as the fearmongers try to make you think. Anyways, that's it for our Spring 2026 season. Shout out to my producer, Bob Dabalina. I guess there's no Dr. Peppers on Monday nights in my future, is it, Bob? Until we come back for our next season, whenever that is, whether it's this summer or in the fall, this is your boy Dirt God saying salam.